Tonight on Marquette Now, a local laundromat catches fire for the second time in a year. How you can be part of preventing future fires.
A police officer that's serving communities both locally and halfway across the globe.
I didn't know really what I was doing. I just reached out and started making phone calls.
Varsity Theater welcomes in a different kind of ensemble, taking center stage.
I was a really nerdy kid, and I love Star Wars, so.
And later, March Madness turns to sadness on campus. We'll break down the basketball season in a bit.
From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio, this is Marquette Now.
Good evening, I'm Emily Sacco.
And I'm Bailey Stripling. Welcome to Marquette Now.
The Marquette community is mourning the death of student Daniel Nix.
Nix was a senior in the College of Business Administration.
The university announcement from President Lovell says that Nix passed away while on vacation over spring break in Mexico.
The announcement says the student from Arlington Heights, Illinois was, quote, hardworking, energetic, outgoing, and friendly. A big personality who will be dearly missed.
Marquette's Counseling Center and campus ministry are available to help students through this difficult time. The university announces its commencement speaker for the graduating class of 2023. Academy Award-winning actress Marlene Matlin will speak at the undergraduate commencement on May 20th. Matlin won an Academy Award for Best Actress in 1987 for her role in Children of a Lesser God. Matlin is a deaf actress and is the American Civil Liberties Union's Celebrity Ambassador for Disability Rights. She was recently part of the cast for the 2022 Academy Award for Best Picture winner, Coda.
Marquette Coin Laundry up in flames for the second time in less than a year. According to the laundromat's employee, Alma Capetillo, who did not want to be interviewed on camera, a dryer machine caught fire on March 4th. She says it began in the lint trap and the fire was contained to just that machine. Please note that this video is from a larger fire last April that caused damage to the building. The best way to prevent dryer fires is to clean lint traps.
Lint is highly flammable, and when it sits in there for a long period of time, it causes potential dryer fires. That is the #1 cause.
Moral of the story, clean out those lint traps regularly.
The men's and women's basketball seasons have unfortunately come to an end.
Marquette Wire Executive News Editor Julia Abuzahab is joined by Executive Sports Editor John Layuzzi and Executive Sports Producer Kristen Parisi in the newsroom.
They'll talk about both teams' postseason efforts and their season as a whole. Julia?
Thank you so much, Emily and Bailey, and thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. How are you guys doing?
Great. How are you, Julia?
Doing great.
Thanks. I'm doing well as well. But yes, unfortunately, both the women's and men's basketball team lost. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about what the women's season kind of looked like in March Madness?
Yeah, I mean, the women's season kind of really started off with a bang. They went down to the Bahamas to the Battle for Atlantis. They shocked #3 Texas, which was their highest ranked win in program history. They were also ranked for 1 week, but towards the end of the season, it kind of got a little fuzzy. I mean, Liza Carlin was out with a broken jaw, but in March Madness, they were off to a hot start against South Florida, looking for their first tournament win since 2018. So it was just, I mean, they came out with a bang. Emily Lachapelle had 8 of the first 12 points. Chloe Murata had 11 points in the third quarter, but that fourth quarter, South Florida used a 10-0 run to go up ahead by 4, and then free throws kind of helped the Golden Eagles get back into overtime, but I mean, injury or foul trouble plagued the women. I mean, Liza Carlin and Chloe Murata both fouled out early in overtime, and it was just too many turnovers down the road, and they went 5 minutes without scoring, so that fourth quarter really just sealed the deal for the loss.
Yeah, and that's been the real main theme this season for the Golden Eagles, and a couple big games, including the Big East tournament, where they just went into scoreless droughts and allowed the UConn to take that big thump that they did in the semifinals, and foul trouble really has hurt the Golden Eagles this.
But I would say it was a
successful season.
I mean, they beat #2 UConn, they beat #3 Texas, so all in all, it was a good season for them.
Yeah, I know, moving over to men's, they lost in the second round of March Madness, a loss that you actually predicted in a column. But yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about men's basketball?
Yeah, no, the men's team for the first time in 3,641
He's
days
got that
won a
memorized.
game
He's got it
in the first
memorized.
round. Not like any Marquette fan was waiting for the last 10 years for happen, but in the first game against Vermont, they came out slow in the first half, and in the second half, Kristen and I had the broadcast. We were talking about how good Cam Jones was, Julius. 18 consecutive points in that second half was the reason why Marquette was able to advance to the second round. Tyler Kolak did not have his best game because he sustained a right thumb injury, but the Golden Eagles were able to use their depth in that first round game. And then the depth seemed to go away in that second game against Michigan State. The size disadvantage really hurt Marquette. The fouls also. And the Golden Eagles, for the first time this season, turned the ball over religiously. It was almost every single play they were able to do that as well. So a lot of issues happened there.
Yeah, 9 minutes with 9 straight turnovers, so it was a lot, but good season for the men.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have, and I'll throw it back to Emily and Bailey in the studio.
Thanks, Julia. Memorial Library is about to get a makeover, but for some, it might not be as pretty as one thinks.
TJ Dysart takes us in between the aisles.
Here in Memorial Library's reading rooms, the history is written on the walls and on the bookshelves.
We're actually going to ship our books to Baker and Taylor, and what they're going to do is see if anyone needs them or wants them. They'll sell them. Those that don't sell will be recycled.
But you won't have to go dumpster diving to pick up your favorite book. What Dean Bayarjan is referring to is duplicates.
You know, libraries just, you don't typically have that.
Lots of duplicates.
Over 10,000 duplicate books in our collection.
And while the collection is shrinking, the library is growing. In February of 2022, the Lamonas Center for Student Success was announced, and it will replace the current reading rooms where those books are housed.
We're excited because it's an opportunity for students, even more students, to be exposed to the ways that we can help students when they're doing their research.
And while some are excited, others are on the fence.
My one concern is if there's a certain book that a student needs that used to be available and you look on the website, claims that's still available and isn't anymore, that could be a little bit troublesome, especially if you need it for a project.
But for now, the only project students will have to worry about is the one going on in the quietest part of the library.
Now, the university has stated that students who study in Memorial Library will have to get used to some unexpected noise. Marquette is separated into two libraries, with Rayner Library behind me being the more discussion-based library and Memorial being on the quieter side.
I'm TJ Dysart, Marquette Wire News.
The project is set to begin in April of 2023 and will be taking place over the course of 6 months.
If you're an electric vehicle driver, you're in luck. New electric vehicle charging stations are being installed in both the Wells Street and the 16th Street parking structures. These chargers are a part of Marquette's mission to become a more sustainable campus. Electric vehicle drivers can expect them to be placed later this semester.
Eckstein Hall's Lubar Center hosts a town hall on reckless driving. The event comes weeks after an Eagle Express crashed into Marquette's Engineering Hall. The event was held in conjunction with Sherman Park Community Association and WTMJ4.
We sort of get used to coming up to a stoplight and you see that it says don't walk and people are like, all right, it says don't walk, but nobody's here, so I'm going to go across the street. Well, I mean, just to be aware that these offenses will be enforced until we can get full buy-in from the community and everyone else. I'm just asking students to take care as they cross the roadways.
Mosley said that going forward, the initiative will focus on driver's education, law enforcement, and street engineering to create safer conditions for both drivers and pedestrians.
2 residents of Cobean Hall are known far across campus.
They run around the hallways and play with others as students greet them with a smile.
Marquette Now's Trinity Burgess brings us to where these 2 furry friends run wild.
On the second floor of Cobean Dining Hall, Luna and Emery spread joy to those living there and others around campus.
Emery, I got her when I was in grad school. I actually got her from a breeder. She's a Beagle Corgi mix. So I got her when she was 2 months because at the time my apartment I was staying in wouldn't permit dogs over 30 pounds.
Sophie Siezelke rescued Luna from a breeding facility who lived as a breeding mom.
Puppies were sold for medical or cosmetic research. She'd been there her whole life before she was rescued last year.
Luna's right ear is clipped to show she was a breeding mom, and on her left, a faded tattoo to identify her. But residents like Reese, who has a rescue dog, Dozer, see more than scars.
It makes me feel like a different, deeper connection to her, to know that she has the same type of experience as my dog did.
Hannah Gonzalez, a co-worker of Sophie, enjoys their presence as well.
I love them. They're great. It's just nice to have like animals in the department to be able to pet and play with and whatnot. I think it brings a lot of peace and joy to us.
I think it's really fun to see dogs and maybe have some sort of familiarity here in the residence halls too. She was brave and persevered and courageous to explore the world.
Both Luna and Emery shine a light on everyone that walks by. I'm Trinity Burgess, Marquette Wire News.
Let's hope there's nice enough weather to take those dogs outside for a walk. I'm Katie Munson, and let's take a look outside at your current weather. Right now it's 47 degrees out, and it's definitely humid with a 25% chance of rain coming our way, and the winds are coming in from the south at 6 miles per hour. Don't go anywhere, Marquette. We'll be right back with the rest of your weather right after this.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Katie Munson, here to take a closer look at your weather. Tonight it's going to be 36 degrees, definitely humid with 57% chance of rain coming our way, and the winds are going to be coming in from the northwest at 8 miles per hour. Moving into our overnight lows, it's going to be warmest here in Milwaukee at 36 degrees and the coldest up north in Superior at 18 degrees with an overall chilly night. Moving into tomorrow's highs, it's going to be warmer down here in the south, highest in La Crosse at 44 degrees, and in Milwaukee it's going to be a crisp 39 degrees, so we're looking at some slightly warmer weather. Tomorrow it's going to be 39 degrees with 60% chance of rain coming our way. It's going to be humid with the winds coming in from the north-northeast at 9 miles per hour. And taking a look into the future with the 5-day forecast, it's going to be a somewhat nice week. We've got some rain coming our way Sunday, and we're going to get a wintry mix on Monday. It's going to be the warmest on Monday at 44 degrees with a low of 29 degrees. So definitely keep those jackets, Marquette. Emily and Bailey, you know, with all this rain coming our way, I'm hoping that the March showers bring us April flowers.
Yeah, let's hope Mother Nature is in a giving mood, right? All right, well, over 5,100 donors participated in the 6th annual Give Marquette Day.
It raised over $4.5 million, making it the most successful yet. The 24-hour fundraiser was held in conjunction with Blues Birthday Bash.
On campus, so you can give to any college, there are athletics challenges, any area of support to Marquette students. It's also Blue, the Marquette police dog's first birthday, so we're celebrating Blue's birthday.
Donations to the university can be made year-round on the annual giving webpage. BizTime Milwaukee has named 2 Marquette faculty as notable BIPOC executives.
Dr. Xavier Cole, Vice President for Student Affairs, and Tammy Belton Davis, Adjunct Professor of Strategic Communication, are being recognized in the publication's Notable series for their work in the business community. Cole focuses on student growth through leadership and skill growth by leading Marquette's Division of Student Affairs. Belton Davis is known for her work in public relations and equity strategies. Here's Marquette Now's Andrew Hubbock with a look at a unique sport.
Thanks, Bailey. There's a good chance you've been to a game at Fiserv Forum to watch the men's basketball team, or gone to the Al McGuire Center to see the volleyball team, or maybe even made the trip out to Valley Fields. But have you heard of the team that competes in varsity theater? You heard that right. I caught up with the starring cast of a performance you might not expect.
What is it that makes one fall in love with a sport?
I was a really nerdy kid, and I love Star Wars. So when I was 8 and I saw some people running around with swords at the Park District, I was like, Mom, I gotta get in on this.
No, this isn't a galaxy far, far away. And don't be fooled, that's no stormtrooper. That's Eric Nassos, and he just won the Marquette Fencing Club's Stabs on Stage event at Varsity Theater.
I fenced for 14 years now, as of April, so it's not quite, but yeah.
It's not Eric's first bout, but for many, their fencing journeys began right here at Marquette. That includes the club's president.
I joined spring semester of my freshman year.
Ohm had no experience going in, but despite that, he and his fellow members are always willing to take a stab at teaching fellow members.
You want everyone to kind of like grow and develop, especially because fencing is not as big in like the college like club area, you know? You want people to learn and grow as much as they can.
It's just one of those things that, you know, everyone's in a different place in where they are in fencing, so they might as well give some advice and give some pointers. And, you know, better competition means that you get better.
With increasing interest and passionate members, the team's level of competition is only going up from here.
There's a fencing like college conference for college clubs. I think we want the club to eventually kind of go down that route.
But that can't happen without a little bit of
money, money, money. That's all it is. We don't have a lot of money to raise funds for travel, for getting into it. There's a fee to be a part of the conference because they have to have officials. I think if that money were there, we would be able to advance very fast and be able to offer a lot more.
With conference fencing on the horizon, the team is on guard and ready to advance to the challenge. I'm Andrew Hubbock, Marquette Wire News.
Women's History Month continues, especially celebrating female leaders.
A Black Women Rock Brunch was hosted to empower community members in business.
John Ray Stowers shares her experience as a business owner of a local clothing and accessories boutique.
I need to share my story so that I can have impact, so that others know, like, some of the things that they go through is normal. Like, it's the hiccups that come with being a business owner.
Stowers also is the Associate Director of Student Support Services in the Educational Opportunity Program.
And now to a special member of the Marquette University Police Department.
Marquette Now's Timothy Leteau goes one-on-one with the officer who's also serving a community more than 8,700 miles away.
If you know Lieutenant Jim Hensley, you'll know he loves the outdoors.
I love being outside. I love being in nature. I walk around with him, and I joke about I've got the best job on campus.
His passion for nature brought him to South Africa in 2013.
I saw the absolute poverty over there.
9 million tourists visit South Africa every year. Most don't do anything for the residents living in poverty there. But Jim isn't like most other people.
He's truly one of a kind, that's for sure.
I don't know why it affected me and not others. It's just something that didn't go away.
He started the Blue Bag program with his wife Carol to donate clothes, toys, and school supplies to the kids in need.
That's just how Jim is.
I didn't know really what I was doing. I just reached out and started making phone calls.
Phone calls turned into help from Delta and United Airlines, connections in South Africa, and a company to provide the blue bags.
We've sent over 75 bags, and roughly at 50 pounds a piece, it's getting close to, 2 tons worth of stuff going over there. They're taken to, there's 3 different schools, now 4, and an orphanage. It's really, really simple.
Not that simple, and that's not it.
Last year, my wife and I built a school over there. So it's now, that's why I said, and now actually we have 4 schools because we built one. My wife and I just talked about it, and we just pulled some money out of our retirement fund.
A great sacrifice for the Hensleys, and a boy in South Africa sacrifices for his family too.
There's this one right here. That boy heard that we were coming, and he walked 30 miles to come and see Jim that day, and he didn't want to miss him. And he was there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Jim makes his special 8,700-mile delivery at least once each year.
He's always looking out for the best for everybody else. He wants to give, and that's just how he is. He's always been that way for as long as I've known him. It's one of the things I love about him.
A tourist turned Santa Claus.
It's Christmas for them.
A pickup for a sleigh.
When they see us, pulling into town, they're running and chasing our truck.
And kids finding great joy in the small things they never knew. I'm Timothy Leteau, Marquette Wire News.
Emily, Blue's becoming a bit of a celebrity.
Yeah, and halfway across the world, too. And if you want to donate to the Blue Bag program, the best way to do so is to email Jim Hensley at his Marquette address.
And don't go anywhere because Aaron Howard will be back with sports right after this.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world? You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Howard with your Marquette Now Sports Report. The men's lacrosse team turned some heads with the upset win over ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. The Golden Eagles are on a roll early thanks to Andrew Bauman, Will Foster, and Nolan Rappis and their 3 straight goals, giving the Golden Eagles a 7-5 lead. A face-off win is what makes the difference and secures Marquette their 5th ever win over a top 10 ranked team, 12-11. After the impressive win, 3 players are named to the weekly Big East Honor Roll. Senior defender Mason Woodward was named the Big East Defensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season, and first-year midfielder and attacker Andrew Bauman was named Big East Freshman of the Week for the 2nd time. As for the women's lacrosse team, the Golden Eagles keep the hot streak going against the Louisville Cardinals. The game is extremely close until Marquette finally widens the gap to take home the 15-11 win. At 7-1 on the season, Marquette is off to its best start in program history. The Golden Eagles will resume play on Friday against Eastern Michigan. After the undefeated Week 3 Golden Eagles land Big East honors. Senior attacker Mary Schumer is named to the honor roll for the 3rd time this season after scoring 2 goals and recording 5 assists. Sophomore goalie Brina Nixon earns her first Big East honor roll selection after saving a career-high 12 goals versus Louisville. First-year attacker Tess Oborn also joins the party with her 2nd Big East Freshman of the Week honor after scoring 5 goals last week. At 7-1 on the season, Marquette is off to its best start in program history. The Golden Eagles will resume play on Friday against Eastern Michigan. Although the lacrosse teams are rolling, the March Magic has officially run out for the men's basketball team. Coming off a demanding round 1 win over Vermont, Marquette's NCAA tournament run is ended by the Michigan State Spartans. Although sophomore guard Stevie Mitchell starts off the game on a high note, the Spartans, led by former Golden Eagle forward Joey Hauser, come out of the gates on fire and dominate the first half on the floor on both ends of the floor. Hoping to avoid the upset, Marquette starts off the second half on an 8-0 run led by junior forward Olivier Maxence Prosper to take a 3-point lead. However, the effort is not enough as the Michigan State Spartans spearhead their way past the Golden Eagles with a score of 69-60. Although this loss was felt throughout Marquette Nation, the regular season is not to be dismissed. The Golden Eagles finished first in the Big East regular season for the first time in Marquette history, while also moving on to win the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden. Junior guard Tyler Kolek won the Big East Player of the Year award and was selected as the Big East tournament's MVP. Sophomore guard Cam Jones and junior forward Oso Iguodara were named Big East second team. Sophomore forward David Joplin was named Big East Sixth Man of the Year and Big East All-Tournament team. With the team's success, Coach Shaka Smart was named the Big East Coach of the Year and the 2023 Henry Iba U.S. Basketball Writers Association Coach of the Year. Unfortunately for the women's basketball team, their season ends in dramatic fashion in the first round of the NCAA tournament against the South Florida Bulls. The Golden Eagles start off the game strong but slowly start to dwindle over the course of the second half. South Florida heats up in the fourth quarter and uses a 10-0 run to go up with 4:30 seconds left. At the brink of elimination, King and first-year guard Mackenzie Hare come up big with last-second free throws to send the game to overtime. The women's season literally came down to the last shot, but Hare sees her three-pointer rattle out of the basket as time expires and the Bulls send the Golden Eagles back home. The Golden Eagles season was an eye-opener despite the tough loss. The Golden Eagles defeated number 3 ranked Texas in the battle for Atlanta's championship and defeated number 2 UConn for the first time in Marquette history. The win also marked the highest-ranked victory over an opponent in program history. Jordan King and Chloe Murata earned all Big East first-team honors, and both Emily LaChapelle and Mackenzie Hare are all Big East freshmen honorary after an impressive first year. Coming up this week in athletics, the women's lacrosse team hopes to keep the good vibes going this weekend as the Golden Eagles go on a 2-game road trip. First up is a meeting with Eastern Michigan on Friday at 10 a.m. The Golden Eagles will then travel to Central Michigan on Sunday to take on the Chippewas at 11 a.m. The men's lacrosse team makes their return to Valley Fields on Saturday to take on St. Bonaventure University at noon. That's it for sports, but don't go anywhere. Marquette Now will be right back with our Down to the Wire segment.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to load their minds. Dare to explore. Dare to STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Welcome back. I'm Emily Sacco.
And I'm Bailey Stripling.
Earlier in the newscast, we had an incorrect spelling in a graphic. We apologize for the mistake made earlier in the program when we incorrectly labeled John Ray Stowers' name. Marquette Wire Executive News Editor Julia Bouzahab joins us again for tonight's edition of Down to the Wire. She's with Executive Investigative Editor Skylar Chun to talk about her recent investigative article in the Marquette Tribune.
Thank you so much, Emily and Bailey, and thank you too so much, Skylar, for joining me tonight. How are you doing?
Thank you, Julie. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So recently you had a story in the Tribune about an ongoing Title IX case. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about what that story was about?
Yeah, so the Les Aspen Center is a Marquette program where students can live, study, and work in Washington, D.C. or neighboring areas around the nation's capital. And it's a pretty well-known program that has been going on for the past 35 years. So each semester or summer, a cohort of about 20 students will go through the program and have their own internships in their field. But what we found this year was that there have been multiple Title IX allegations filed against Father O'Brien, who is the Marquette priest, professor, and founder of the program. And 2 of those cases are still ongoing today.
Yeah, and so in your article you talk how Marquette actually recommended O'Brien stay away from all events that were happening, but we found out that that wasn't the case. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, so Amanda Smith, one of the students who was willing to share her story and her Title IX experiences with me, walked me through her experiences of going to the Les Aspen Center last semester, so fall 2022. And after filing the case, she was reassured that O'Brien would not be at any class events or teaching at all, but he still showed up, as shown in this picture on the screen, and he actually would have, he's on the very right, and he would have stood right next to her if her friend did not switch with her. But in the Marquette University Instagram post, you can see that he's actually cropped out of that picture, so you can't see him at all. There were just a lot of little incidents like that that added up. So a bunch of my sources really emphasized the fact that there was a lack of accountability happening throughout their time in the center. So they just said that they hope to see some changes in the future.
Yeah, and so you've been working on this story for a few months now. How did you first hear about this situation?
Yeah, so one night and last semester, like the end of last semester, I think it was the beginning of December, I got a phone call from some of the managers, and it was kind of out of the blue, but they were just like, we found out about this story and we want you to cover this, like would you be willing to? And I said okay, but I think at that time I didn't really know the extent of, I don't think anyone knew the extent of where that would lead, and that it would be dealing with much more than just like one person or one case.
Yeah, how has the story kind of challenged you in new ways as a journalist?
The story challenged me in a lot of ways. I think the biggest thing was in following a story for so long, you're talking to people about a very like sensitive and difficult subject. So a part of that, like for me, was like learning how to deal with all those emotions of like what you see in the story, even though it's so long, is just a small part of like everything I listen to. And so learning how to deal with those emotions and tell the story as like factually and like accurate as it could, while still like giving everyone like a voice in the story.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show with me tonight, and I will send it back to Emily and Bailey in the studio.
That's our report for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Emily Sacco.
And I'm Bailey Stripling. Remember to check marquettewire.org for all the latest campus news. Good night, Marquette.